All right, guys, so we're now recording. So to catch everybody up, basically what this call is we're really doing this call to dissect a survey that we recently did when we partnered with Jeanne to find out really what the media wants. One, how do they find their sources? And then once they found their sources, how do they evaluate their sources? And Hannah, if you could put in the short link to the survey, or you can go to wasabipublicity.com and download the results of the survey. But that's really the purpose of this BLAB, is to really dive in there and really get to the source of, with this ever-changing media landscape, really what the media wants. So, and if you look in the chat, that's the short URL. I highly recommend that you go get the survey. It's really great, and it lists all of our findings. But I wanted to dive into some of the findings that we had with Jeanne. So Jeanne, thank you for taking the time to do this. We really appreciate that.
Thanks for the opportunity, Drew. This is fun.
Yeah, it is really great, because we did the survey, we got the results, and now, we've talked about what they mean and everything, but I think it would be amazing for the people on the BLAB and people on our pitch rate list to really know, and Wasabi, what do these findings really mean to them? Like, as an expert or a source, what do these really mean? So why don't we just go down there, and well, just to start off, was there anything in the survey that you found particularly fascinating, like the one big aha for you?
Well, I think if I can give you two big ahas, I think there were
two
things that were huge, and they matter because they matter for an expert, a source, or a business who wants to be found. And I think the first big aha was that the mythology is that you have to have a book, but what this is telling us is a book does not have nearly the importance that we had anticipated, and instead original research is much more important than a book. So that was the first big aha. And I think a second big aha, which really cuts across any kind of business, any size of business, is that how important online search is for journalists who are looking for sources. And so your ability to be found online isn't just about your customers finding you, it's also about the people who can help you get to your base and to your customers, how they find you.
Those two for me were the most surprising. For sure, when a media person is evaluating their experts, to only 8.6 of them said that they look at book authorship as a way to evaluate their sources. And that was shocking for me, because I really have and been touting for years as a PR company, write a book. It's a credibility establisher. Now, it doesn't mean that if you love to write and that's your passion, write a book. I still think there's tremendous value in it. But when it comes to really the media evaluating, I think that's a really big aha. And then the second one also was surprising for me, was really the number one way that they find their searches is with Google searches, online presence.
Yes.
And it really begs the question there, if you're an expert, because I don't think people spend enough time really thinking about that. Like, they come to us and they want PR and everything. They don't really think about their online presence and how the media is going to find them. And that's why, one, your website is so important, but number two, you've got to have an online press kit.
Yes.
And you've got, because that's really, you want to put your best foot forward, front and center. So you need to have an online press kit so that the media has everything that they need front and center right at their fingertips.
Right, because clearly that's what they're doing now. That's the way they're going at it. And one of the things to note in here too, I would argue that the data aren't definitive on this, but I would argue that trend is likely to increase, not decrease, because the majority of people who responded to the survey are baby boomers. So as the millennials come to the media, it's just going to drive the trend even harder.
That's a really great point, and I think that kind of it is a good distinction. What we found is the majority of the people were baby boomers and media that serve baby boomers. So this media, if that's really your target market and that's what you want to go after, then it's more important than ever that you really focus on that, because that's the way that they're doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And it was interesting because I would have thought that pitching would actually trump online searches, but pitching actually comes in at number 2 on that, which I found that was surprising for me, because I thought that was the top of the list, was going to be pitching from people.
Right. Pitching comes in number 2, but I think there's also something important about pitching, even though it's, and number 2 is huge, right? It's still huge. So pitching is important. And I think there's another piece of data in here that's really, really hopeful as well as instructive, which is the media aren't getting as many phone and email pitches as we think they are. So they're more approachable, particularly by phone, than many people would perceive.
That was interesting, right? And I think that most people now are just so, just think about email, and they don't think about going old school. Right. And we still do a lot of our phone. We do a lot by email, but we do a lot of actually picking up the phone and calling the media. And you would think that they would just be bombarded by phone calls, but they're really not. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was shocking how few journalists actually got phone calls.
Well, basically, you've got over a quarter, 28.6% get no phone call pitches in an average day, and nearly 90% get less than 5. So that tells us that old school method still works.
Wow. Okay. So I just want to underline that. So that is amazing. So 28% of the media get no phone calls at all in a day.
No phone call pitches in the average day, and almost 90% get less than 5.
So, if you're someone that, can pick up the phone, dial and smile, because they're there. We've got 13% of the media received between 250 and 499 work-related emails each day. So close to 500 emails every day that they have to go through. It's really hard to set yourself apart with that.
Well, and that's just their pitches. So think about what the average business owner or expert or entrepreneur, think about your own inbox and how unmanageable it is and unwieldy it is. So you put the pitches in there with the ordinary email, and that tells you that it's not a really good way, it's not an effective way to set yourself apart.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. And if you're out there pitching yourself, I think that's a nugget of gold to take away is that, it's much easier to set yourself apart by dialing and smiling than actually emailing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then number 3, I think, was breaking news.
Yes.
That's how they find their experts. And that's one of the things that we tell our clients, the way that we land really the top tier media that our clients really want, the logo top tier media, one of our most effective strategy is tying our clients into breaking news.
Right.
And I can actually speak to that.
Good. You're back.
And I don't think that everybody is blown away by my sound. Did we get it fixed?
I think you sound great, Michelle, to me.
Sounds great. Yep, good. Welcome.
So we got just been a week full of technical stuff. So I apologize, everyone, for just being
Mercury's in retrograde.
That's what one of our clients told us. I don't know about all that, but it sounds good. It sounds like it's a good excuse for something. So anyway, the thing about breaking news that's really interesting is I just want to give an example of Ashley Graham. Do you remember her? She's the size 16 model that was on Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
You remember her? She's up on the. Am I still echoing on yours? Because Hannah said that nobody's hearing that but you. Is that just? Can you hear me, Drew?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then there's this Sports Illustrated cover, size 16, and we started to pitch a woman who is a former supplement model. She was a bodybuilder and she had gained weight, and now she's back to like just an average size woman. And yesterday she was in the New York Post. But I just want to point out that the Ashley Graham story happened a while ago. So we pitched it then, and it didn't actually bear fruit until yesterday. So a lot of times just using breaking news is not only like, oh, I'm going to get a story now, which we've done before. We've, around domestic abuse, when celebrities are experiencing domestic abuse, we've pitched domestic abuse authors and psychologists, and then gotten them on Dr. Phil. But the other thing is to keep in mind that it's also an opportunity to get your expertise, or if you have clients, your sources, to the media so they know about them. They may use them in the future, like this happened yesterday with the New York Post with Crystal Andrus Morissette. So it's a really great way to kind of nurture that relationship with the media, because they're looking for sources every day. So it's a great way to say, hey, I can help you.
Yeah, I think it's really great. And so there's always two questions that we have to answer for the media is why should the media care, and why should the media care now? And that's one thing that breaking news allows for you, is it answers that second question of why the media should really care now. So it's a really, really great opportunity at that point to tie yourself into what's happening in the breaking, because they're actively looking for experts like you to tie into whatever that breaking story is.
Yes. Yeah. And a great way, I mean, I know one of the things that we talk about with social media, you know, we have a team that's always on social media because we're doing social media for our clients. And so the thing that I also have them look at, because the other thing that's really great in social media is topics that are trending. So by just noticing whether it's entertainment or hard news or seasonal news like makeup and that kind of thing, that's like right now it's seasonal, Mother's Day, Father's Day coming up, graduate news, things of that nature. Social media, if you're not on top of it, then get a team to actually support you, right? We're already looking at it, so just let us know that you need help. The other thing is with videos. You know, here's a great topic that you guys might not know about, is just capture a video of the expertise, like the source giving the tips. Like, you may be the actual source, you may be the author or the expert, or you may be a communications expert like myself who's working with these experts, and get them on camera. I mean, who cares about the technical difficulties? Like, you know, that's just par for course, and we all have a lot of space for the technical stuff today. But also just getting a face and what's coming out of your mouth and putting that in 1 minute to 2 minutes, no more than 3 minutes, and getting that to the media. Brilliant. We do a lot of videos and just with different strategies, whether it's social media or in our traditional pitching. But that's something that most anybody can do with regard to pitching, is what your expertise is inside the video snippets and getting those in front of the media.
Because that really came. Oh, go ahead, Jeannie. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to jump in. I think that's a great point that Michelle made. And then if you take those same videos and put them on YouTube, it's another way to be found in search, because because you can just, you know, keyword load the descriptions and put the URL in there, and you're off to the races.
That's a great point. Yeah. And that really is the fourth way that the media find you, is really with social media. And I think that, you know, as you were saying, Jeannie, with the millennials, this is the trend, and social media is going to become more and more important and more relevant. And the media is really using it more and more often. So it's important in two ways. One, for the media to find you, but the second way really is it really establishes you as a credible expert. You know, if the media go there and you've got like 100 fans on your fan page, chances are good they're not going to use you, because you're not really seen as a player in that arena, and people really don't care what you have to say, really. So it's really a double-edged sword there with social media. And I know that sometimes people are like poo-pooing social media, but it is such a powerful, powerful tool. And in fact, if our clients come to us and they don't have much of a social media presence, it's one of the first things that we do is actually build that platform for them, so that when we are pitching the media, they take notice of them, particularly if you're looking to land like the top tier national media.
And I told Drew years ago that I was too tired to look at social media.
Famous last
right? I remember when my whole team was like, we got to get into the social media realm. This was years ago. And I just remember, I'm just burned out. And they were so right. So if you're burned out, ask for help. We can help.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Yeah, so
not me. Yeah. But the rest of our team. Clearly I was the one that had a technical fail.
Maybe you had a technical field, not the rest of the team. Exactly. That's why you do PR.
That's why I have the gift of gab, baby. Right, Jeannie? I'm a chatter. So.
Yeah, in fact, it was, it's amazing. But how long ago, Jeannie, you were one of the first people to actually launch a program on how to do social media. How long has that been?
That's about 8 years ago or so, 6-8 years.
8 years ago. Like,
yeah.
You saw the writing on the wall 8 years ago. You were ahead of the curve.
Well, I was fortunate enough to be connected to people who saw the writing too. So
I guess that's really part of the recipe for success: being around those people that see the writing on the wall.
That's right. That's what all my research is about. Every once in a while, a blind squirrel finds an acorn. So
that's really, really great. So let's go jump back to the survey. Now, here's the thing that was another one of those ahas for me. And this is one of the biggest debates out there about PR press releases. Do they work or don't they work? And, it came in at number 5 as the way that the media actually found their sources was press releases.
I love that. Because I've been saying it for years that press releases take a back seat to personalized pitching and breaking news pitching. And in my cohorts, a lot of, we get together, you'll have publicists sitting around the table and they'll all be like, oh, press releases, they trump, they just blah, 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 get the news out there. But for me, press releases have always been a way to just say to the whole world, here's the news, just go ahead and reprint this as we're all too busy to really get the real story, right? Whereas a pitch says, hi, I'm really thinking about you and what you write, and here's an idea. So it kind of gives that personalized touch that makes a huge difference for people. And it's not that I don't like press releases, and obviously the media is still using it for news. They're necessary. It's just I think it's more for search engine optimization. Jeannie, you want to speak to that? That's really your forte instead of mine,
Well, I think they have a huge effect in SEO. And I think that's a big reason if they're done well. And, I'm not by any stretch of the imagination an SEO expert. That stuff is so complex. I mean, and that's where you really do need someone who really knows what they're doing, like you guys, who can put the press release together and then pull in an SEO expert to make sure that it's optimized, because it's not simple anymore.
It's not simple.
Yeah, it's not. And, we tell our clients, if you want it for SEO purposes, it's an amazing tool. And then if you really wanted to get media coverage, really the only way to do that is really if you have truly breaking news, really something that the general consumer is going to really be interested in. And that's where you got to take a really close look at your baby and say, is my baby cute enough for a press release? And I know we always think our baby's cute enough, but sometimes our baby ain't cute enough for a press release. So I think it's a place where, I see a lot of people spending a lot of time and resources with press releases, and they're disappointed with it. I think they're still a valuable tool, but I think you need to know when to use them and when not to use them.
Oh, no, and here's a thing for all the publicists on the BLAB today, is that, your press releases, a lot of times the corporate boards or the corporate people that you report to, they like the links because you just buy a press release distribution, then you get all these links to then present in a corporate board situation. The good part about that is that the corporation or the nonprofit or the government agency, they control the message that's in that press release. So it makes them feel very satisfied that it's out there. So it is one strategy to me, and clearly from this study, it's not the top strategy.
Yeah, but they all work together. I think what we're finding is that really you need an integrated PR campaign to really, produce the result that you're looking for. But, what this should tell you or could tell you is that really where you want to put your energy and in what ratios. Yeah. So those were really the ways, like how the top 5 ways that the media find the sources. And now really we jump into how they choose their sources, which was a fascinating exploration. And, the number 1 was that they are a recognized expert in their field and arena. So Jeannie, do you want to talk about that? I mean, that's not particularly surprising.
It's not surprising, but I think we go back to this issue of what makes you a recognized expert? Okay. Yeah. And I think number one and number two tie very, very closely together, because number one is, I want someone who's an expert, but again, it's not necessarily the book that propels them to credibility and authority in the space. It's original research to back up their claims, because that's number two. And in fact, over 82% of the journalists who responded to the survey said they need to increase the number of sources they have with original research. So I think, if you're looking a way to establish your expertise, really understanding your market or your area or whatever it is at a deep level, and having original as opposed to secondary research, because that's very clear in the data that that really show that you understand it and you can prove you understand it. That's really a huge differentiator according to what we're seeing in the data.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And, it's one of those things when we started talking about that, I don't think a lot of people even know how to approach that and how to make that happen. And I know that's your area, your gift and everything. So just walk us through what you mean by that, by original research, and maybe give us like an example of that.
Well, original research typically is going to be, usually, if it's really going to establish expertise, it needs to be systematic as opposed to anecdotal. So it's not just, I talked to 5 of my customers and this is what they said, or, this is what I'm seeing in social media, because that's not very representative. Instead, it's about really being able to get some original data from your customers or people in your field or other experts or whatever would be appropriate. And that doesn't have to be as complex as most, or as daunting as most people think it is. And it can be extraordinarily valuable. So data that if you can piggyback something in a customer satisfaction survey and really hammer into what people want, what their top concerns are, that's actually a question that far too many businesses can't answer. So if you can say, all right, in this industry, here are the top 5 concerns. These are the things that are keeping people awake at night in this industry. That's extremely powerful. It's powerful for getting to the media. Back to Michelle's point about the importance of social media, it's also powerful for creating content, because the biggest reason that businesses don't create content is they don't know what to write. Well, once you know what those concerns are, what's keeping them up at night, you solve that problem.
I think that's really great. And see, that really, for the media that serves that audience, that's really what they want to know, because they want to know what's going to be of value to their readers, their viewers, and their listeners. So if you're tapping into that and then you're positioning that to the media, like these are the concerns that are keeping people up at night, and then this is the solution to that, that's just pure gold for the media.
It absolutely is, Drew. And it's going to be so compelling to your audience once it gets out there, because now you're the person who's saying, all right, I understand that this is your problem. You know it's going to resonate because you already have the data that tell you it's the core problem. And now your messaging, your products, everything's oriented around, specifically around the things you know they care about.
Yeah, and it's just really insightful because, there's nothing worse than really spinning your wheels. And the more just like this survey that we did with the media, it was really insightful for us and really helps us guide the ship to really what's going to make a difference.
Absolutely. And, no matter how well businesses or experts or authors know their markets, we've never delivered these kinds of data without delivering surprises.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. I bet there's always surprises. I love that.
Always surprises. If there weren't, we'd be in trouble.
And I want everybody I want to challenge everybody on the call to listen to news daily with that in mind, because you'll hear it. The media will actually cite original research. And then the next thing what the survey found out was, okay, what is the material? What do they look like, right? Online press kits, websites, the social media. So it kind of paints a picture, because they're checking out. My uncle used to say, he was quite a card. He used to say that anybody can be an expert 20 miles from their house, right? You just drive 20 miles and say you're an expert, and you are. And to some degree, that used to be true. And today, that's not true. So today, we've got the wild, wild west of the internet. And it is, people verify you, and they verify you by what you look like online. So what does your website look like? What does your online press kit look like? Do you have established credibility, but are you still fresh enough to be a fresh face for them, which is where the original research really is wonderful. But we for sure, as PR professionals, we encourage all clients, if they come to us and their main website is atrocious, we help them redesign it. And then we always do an online press kit for all our clients, just so that we have a little bit of control, even if they don't do their websites with us, about what's timely inside that press kit. You know, making sure that, like last week was Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day, we immediately started capturing all of the media coverage and putting it on the online press kit, so that it can be, so we have a page to go to immediately as the people are interacting with us about what's happening that day. So those are just a few things about, like, just kind of stepping back and looking, maybe Googling yourself or Googling your client, and just kind of looking to see, you know, if there isn't, how do you look? And if there isn't original research that's already done that you can point to, then maybe having it done yourself. So it may be daunting for a lot of people, but there's a lot of professionals that are looking to help, you know?
Well, Jeannie's the best in the field. So, you know, if you go, go to download the survey, her contact information is there and everything. If you're really looking to explore that, I mean, I highly recommend that. And you also have a program where you walk people through it, don't you, Jeannie, how to do a survey?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not so, yes, there's basically what I've done is put together a program where we've got a template for how to get these core problems, how to figure out what people want, you know, what's keeping them up at night, and then turn that content. It's called Marketing Roadmap.
Great.
What's it called? Marketing Roadmap?
Marketing Roadmap, yeah.
Marketing Roadmap, nice.
Great.
Good.
So guys, if you guys have any questions, you can always over in the live chat, you can always just chat us if you have any questions, you know, as we go through this. We've got a couple of more of our insights, but if you have any questions about anything that we discussed this far, how it pertains to you or anything, just go ahead and type it in the chat box. So how the media choose their sources. Now, 34.5% look for the sources to have well-developed press materials. This didn't surprise me. Yeah. And it's something that we tout to our clients all the time. It's why we created our online technology, online presskit247.com, to allow people to create their press kits easily and simply without an IT person, because we know that that's so important if you want to grab the media's attention and for them to really use you as an expert or a source. In fact, it's always the first place that we begin with our clients, is really putting together their online press kit. And, you know, I think it's really important, well developed, and you want to look at what is going to serve the media and really making sure that you're putting everything at the media's fingertips. I mean, we put, you know, an about page, we do the bios, the print, the radio bios, we do story ideas, news idea, recent news coverage. So if you want to look and see the press kits that we've developed, most of them on searchpresskits.com are our work, and you can go and check those out so you can get an idea when you're putting together your online press kit, what to do. If you hear a whining in the background, that's my dog, my 17-year-old cocker. I'm not beating him, but I would like to. Just joking. Just joking. I'm sorry, Bailey. I'm just joking.
I caged my beast before the call.
And
this is the younger one. Hi,
buddy.
Yeah, Brody.
I heard that and I thought, dang it, I still have feedback on my speakers.
No, that's Bailey, my 17-year-old cocker.
That's awesome.
He's grumpy. That's awesome.
Deserves to be. Hey, Drew, what you said about the well-developed materials is so important, because, you know, what you do is, and what I do, it's both part art and part science. And you guys are so sophisticated in the way that you put those things together. And so I think, you know, the advantage of having expertise like you have is twofold. Number one, it's going to, you know, keep you from chasing your tail and trying to figure out things you really don't know how to do well. And number two, it's just simply going to shortcut your success.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, Jeanne, because it is really important. Our work is very similar because we know the market of what the media want, and we're always learning, and the landscape's always changing. But Michelle and the team is in the trenches day in, day out, so they know what the media is. So when we're developing our online press kits, we're looking from that perspective. We know what we want, and we design it for them specifically. So that it really, once they get it in front of them, they're like, oh, this is the perfect source for us.
Right. And that's just huge.
That is huge.
It's like anything else. It's you don't let your brother-in-law build your website. You don't let your cousin do your SEO, and you really need somebody who knows what they're doing with this stuff.
That's really so true. So true. So true. Some of us throughout life had to learn the hard way, right?
Absolutely.
Don't do it. Don't do what we've done. That's awesome. That's really, really great. Well, that brings us to the last thing that we talked about, which we began in the beginning, which was really book and book authorship. And, while the media still use it as a way to evaluate their sources, only 8.6 use book authorship as a way to do it. So I don't want people left with not write a book. That's not the point to this. The point is that too often people don't love to write, but they do it in order to. And the experts, the gurus say you've got to have a book, got to have a book. You don't have to have a book. But that doesn't mean that if it's not something you're passionate about, that you shouldn't do that. One is if you love writing, write a book, or if you just feel like you need to get a book out there in the world, once again, like Jeanne, hire people to help you. There's all kinds of people to help you with ghostwriting and all of that. But it's not in order to. You don't have to anymore. You don't have to do that in order to get media coverage. And it used to be the case, but that's not the case anymore. So for you people out there that's not a writer and a book looks like a daunting task, that should be a huge relief.
Good relief.
Absolutely.
A big good relief. Yeah.
Cool. And here's the thing about you don't have a book. I wonder if you can talk a little bit about the use of video, because I almost forgot too that we had video today. I just threw this on. I have to be honest, Jeanne. I forgot to, and then, like 5 minutes before, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be on camera."
Well, the I got was we didn't, because I asked Hannah beforehand, so I'm gonna out Hannah. So I asked Hannah, and she's like, "No video." I'm like, "Oh, I just got off my bike, no problem."
Oh, got it. Well, with video, so it doesn't. We can still hear you and still get all the brilliance that you have, right? The thing that I wanted to talk about was using video instead of a book, because I think Drew came up with something brilliant. He was on a reality show called House Hunters International. You may have seen him in the dogs. And then he met this wonderful producer. And so I just thought you might speak about, if somebody doesn't want, like maybe they're more of a visual person and they don't really want a book, how could they be utilizing video today, Drew? Like that's, online and stuff. I thought you might just want to speak about that just quickly.
Yeah, so great. Yeah, so I think that for me, I think it's really, it begs the question, what do you love to do? What are you passionate about? And if you're like someone who loves to be an actress, be in front of the camera, and that's something that you're passionate about, video is definitely a way to go. I mean, we're seeing amazing results for our clients inside of social media with videos. So, as we've talked about the importance of social media, you couple that with videos, it's just a powerful, powerful combination. Now, when I say videos, I know there's a lot of people out there touting videos and doing videos and everything. It's really about videos that convey your message, that are passionate, that really are also really valuable for people. But if you do that, the results are really, one video we just put up recently, I got like close to 10,000 views in a client's Facebook page that basically no one was active in the Facebook page until we actually did that. I mean, it's if you do the right kind of videos, and we should probably do a BLAB about videos and really what goes into making a really great video. But if you do those videos and that's your passion, I highly recommend it, because the results we're seeing in social media really are through the roof with videos.
Yeah.
It's really great.
People want to see each other. I mean, the more that we complain about being taken apart, we're brought together by technology. So it's just, it's how you use any tool. And I've definitely seen PR transition from typewriters to Twitter.
You're that old? What's a typewriter? I don't even know what a typewriter is.
Cute, very cute. And
was that the same era as the 8-track tapes?
Right. We used to do those hard copy letters and then send them via fax. That's how we pitched. And then you would call. And then if they said yes, we were interested, then we would mail something. Do you remember mail?
No.
And and then we'd have the kit, our press kits inside that mail. And so today, it's all done today. Like, okay, I'm on the phone now, send me something. So for sure, you got to have your press kits. And so it's more of an instantaneous type of feel to our news cycle. That's why it's great to have everything. And I know that people are asking in the feed, Patsy Ray Dawson, we just put up there, searchpresskits.com. And for you to see that sample. And then I also gave some information on how to reach both Jeannie and Drew and myself in the Twitter feed, if you'd like that.
Great.
See, I know some technical things. So, but for sure not like Drew. Just not Drew. So,
Hannah, I'm
all traditional PR, the whole technical aspect of it. I just rely on you guys. So, and then people like me, thank God for people like Jeannie. We wouldn't even have this to talk about if it weren't for somebody like her. So,
all right, we got a question. So speaking about snail mail, like phone pitch, should we also use it? Oh, okay, that's a great question, Michelle. So snail mail and using it in pitching.
Yes. So here, let me tell you this. Just think about how much mail you get. And I like to use postcards or like some really pretty cards. And if I really want to, let's say that a client says, oh, I want to get with the business media. Okay, great. They typically mean entrepreneur, fast company, and so forth. And sometimes you can get so far with your phone pitching or email pitching. As more and more millennials are employed, they prefer the digital pitch first. Everybody loves a card in the mail. We all love that. We all love a handwritten, hey, I'm thinking of you. Here's a thing of nuts, or here's some flowers, or here's some chocolate. We all love that. Now be careful, because journalists, I see we have a tennis reporter. Probably the tennis reporter can take some gifts, but if they're like with the Wall Street Journal or something like that, they can only take like $20 or less. But broadcast people, man, they love food. So send them food and whatever you want, just like you want your friend.
Yeah, it's really acknowledgement.
Yeah, they just want to be, they're people just like you and me, and they want to be treated like that.
I think that that's really great, Michelle, because I think that it's all about having people feel important and known. I mean, that's the value, Jeannie, with doing surveys for your list, is to know what they care about, so that you can really speak directly to their concerns.
Yeah, no, that's true. Good. It's a huge game changer. It really is. Just look what this kind of stuff does in terms of understanding what the media really wants and where they are. It's enormous.
Yeah, I think that's what if you look at the overarching, I hadn't thought about this, but if you think about the overarching survey, and really what we've found is, for the most part, really what the media really care about is like you serving them, taking care of their needs, and knowing them, and knowing them. And I think that that's so important, because one of the most common complaints we get from the media is when people are oh my gosh, I was just going to talk about pitching on topic, and there we go.
Great question.
Great question. How do you find the appropriate editors, reporters, and their contact information for your topic? Perfect. I'm glad you're asking, because that drives home the point. It's so important that you do your research to find the media, and that you pitch them appropriate topics that they care about, that their readers, their viewers, and their listeners talk about. So, Michelle, why don't you talk about how do you find the appropriate editors and reporters?
Well, I'm going to give everybody a free one first.
A free one?
Here's USNPL. We've given this out for years. So here's the thing, is that we pay a lot of money for media lists, right? There's all kinds out there. And just email me, Michelle, 2 L's, at wasabipublicity.com if you really want like a specialized list like that. But this is a free list, and it's going to take you to the media venues site. And in the site, so this is the formula for everybody. Ready? Go to the bottom. Usually at the bottom, it'll say, contact us. I have to do it. I can't tell you how many times each day, especially if a client's needing a specific research on that particular venue. And then you look at contact us, and they will tell you specifically who gets what beat, right? So like we've got the tennis reporter with us. Thanks for joining us, Marcus. Marcus does not want to be pitched something that's not related to tennis somehow, right? So he's going to ignore everything that's coming into his inbox or being pitched, or even snail mail, whatever, if it doesn't forward something around tennis, because he's a tennis reporter. So that's the thing that you have to ask yourself is, as you're doing research on people and venues, who is the best person at this venue? So the person who asked this, he says he's a Chicago photog. The other thing I want you to know, Mr. Photog, is that I'm not sure if you're selling or receiving photos, but let's say you are a graphics or an image person. That's what you do with marketing and so forth. There's always a photography editor at venues, especially today, because even if it's a print-based publication, they're going to have a photography department to round out their stories with images. And now there's a digital component to all the stories. So there's probably going to be not only like a photography head, but also a video head that makes choices about the videos and the photography that actually goes along with the copy that's written by the writers. So all these people are great. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I will call a photography editor and pitch a story because it might be easier. It might be easier to get in.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, you guys are more polite. The photography people are just happier for some reason. I don't know what it is. I like talking to you guys. So, especially like the Associated Press, like a really big venue like the Associated Press, I usually try to get the photography people.
Let's see. We got a question that's great. I have jewelry by an independent designer's online store. How do I create a media list? Well, here's the.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Go ahead, Drew.
This is really good because I want to drive home. So what kind of jewelry, for who, and you want to know, like, too often people are just broad, but you want to know, okay, good, what jewelry, for who, and who do you want to reach? And that will tell you what media is going to be served. For example, if you have jewelry that's for, a baby boomer, for example, then basically you're going to do and find different kinds of media than if they're really designed for young, hip millennials.
Okay.
So
she said fashion jewelry for professional women. Okay. Go ahead. I want you to finish.
Go ahead. That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything more, Drew? Because I have an idea.
No. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So Alma, the other thing is that you say independent designers, and that's also telltale. So everything that Drew just said, plus since it's an online store, the challenge is going to be your geographic location, and I would default to the designer's geographic location. So for example, since you target professional women, let's say you have a designer in Chicago, she's doing glass beads or something, and you're selling it online. So your media list would for sure include Chicago media, especially the Chicago Professional Women's Magazine. So they would be very interested in taking a story about a Chicago-based jewelry designer, and then they would be like, oh, okay, and then you'd get a mention in that but there are going to be local media are hyper focused on local.
And you could have your designer also really do an article about how jewelry makes you more confident, forwards your business, all of those kind of things, providing real expertise to professional women around the whole concept of their jewelry, why they do their jewelry. That's the story, that's the narrative to be told to the media.
The next one, I'm going to put it, we create the next, I'm just going to go ahead and read the next question. Okay. Patsy asked another one. Is there an online place where we can get breaking news releases to pitch ourselves as an expert on, for example, university studies. I'm an expert on sexless marriages, and lots of medical research is appropriate for my opinions. I'm going to recommend our resource, pitchrate.com, if you don't know about it. You get media leads every day. Make sure I spell that right, and then I'll check it for you guys. And then they're going to be asking for resources like this. Any other ideas, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, any relationship, that's juicy. So any relationship journalist is going to be interested in that. But as far as a place to do breaking news releases, as we talked about, any of the wire services, you want to put out a press releases, but I don't think it's going to give you much. I think you want to do personalized pitches to the particular journalist and to the venues rather than doing a press release.
I mean, see, you're on Twitter too. You can also find reporters and connect with them on Twitter. Find out when they're trending around the stories that you're covering. That's where we come into search terms. So there's a whole body of work around popular search terms and what people are looking for, and that should also come along when you're doing your research and creating your lists, your media lists. Who's actually covering the topics that you're talking about. And go from that way and use the internet that way as well. Twitter is one of those sources.
Michelle, FYI, the pitch rate is coming up as a
woe site. Elisa, you're telling me the person who had the speakers are wrong. So that's really so Hannah, it came up fine for me, but thanks for that note. Hannah will take a look at that. It's coming up fine for me. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Alrighty, good. So Jeannie, any final words for you as we wrap up this blab, this juicy blab?
Well, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to do this. I want to thank everybody for joining, and I just want to urge everybody. This is really great information as far as how you can get out there and find the media and get found. And, the people to help you do that are these guys have more expertise and more success than anybody I know.
Oh, thanks, Jeanne. And back at you. I think that, if you haven't thought about surveys before and how they can serve you and your business, I highly recommend that you contact Jeannie, because look, there's no one better that knows how to penetrate, get in there, and know and understand your market, which is going to assure your success like Jeannie. She's pure magic, pure brilliant. And I think these two tools really work hand in hand together. And that's why, we are friends, and it's why we work together, because we know the value of both of these, particularly when you combine original research with PR. It's a recipe for wild success.
Right. Yeah, you get huge credibility and authority in your space at that point.
That's true.
Yeah, brilliant. All righty, guys. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Jeannie. Thanks, Michelle. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Namaste. Ciao, everybody. Have a great day, night, wherever you are in the world.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.